Hey guys, so this video is going to be a little different than the videos that we normally make, but it's a point I just wanted to take the time out to make. And so first I want to start off by playing this clip from our good friend Sean over at SGT Report, because he, like many of us in the truly independent alternative media, people who, for lack of a better word, would be called political dissidents, I guess, we're being attacked in 50 different ways on YouTube right now to basically try and get our channel's memory hold shut down, de-incentivized, everything you can think of. And so I just want to play this clip really quick, and then we're going to talk about it.
November 2016.
Just in the last 2 days, we announced that we will remove advertising from anything we identify as fake news.
The attack against all of us was on. The fake news strawman would be a useful tool for the fascist corporatocracy to silence any form of speech or sabotage any YouTube channel. This is what monopolies and fascists do.
So I'm going to put the link to that whole video. He actually makes a lot of really good points in that video. I'm going to put the link to the whole thing below so you can go watch the whole thing. But right now there is a concerted effort to try and shut down channels like ours, channels like SGT Report, channels like dissent, people who have been held back by the system because they definitely do not want us to have our full views and full subscribers, because then our channels would be huge. And they don't want what we're talking about to be huge. They want it to go away. They want us to shut the hell up. And that's what's actually going on. And so this whole fake news thing, from its inception, has always been a psyop designed to shut down political dissidents, to shut down people who are talking about things that the system does not want them to be discussing in a public forum. That's all, and that's it. And just for one example, if I said to you right now, oh my God, a leprechaun is flying on the back of a rainbow Pegasus and they're dropping out of UFOs that are invading the planet, and there's a horde of zombies coming across the lawn right now to attack us all, we're all gonna die. If I said that, there are channels like that that get buku subscribers, they have ad revenue, and they're making probably hundreds of thousands of dollars a year off of saying that to people, and that's not considered fake. That's fine for them to talk about. That's fine for them to monetize. Anytime a bug flies in front of a camera and they're like, that's an alien, they're not fake news. They're not deemed fake news. Do you see what I'm saying? And there are just certain topics that they have absolutely tried to make it so that you will not discuss them. And if it's about certain things, you will have your channel shut down. You will have your subscribers ripped away. You will have your videos demonetized, and it will make it very hard for you to keep going. And that is really just how it is. And I want to show you guys something. So this is just one of several I'm about to show you. But all through April, they sent these to us just in batches. I think this one has 24 videos listed on it of topics that are not advertiser friendly, so we cannot monetize those topics. And if you look at this list, you will clearly see there are certain things that just across the board, they don't want you talking about that. Number one, first and foremost, is Syria. I could do a report right now called History of Syria 1600 to 1625, and that would get flagged just because I mentioned Syria at all. Any video that mentions Syria is out. Any video. It doesn't matter what it's actually about in regard to Syria. If I'm talking about Syria at all and it's coming from my particular channel with the anti-war views that we have here, that video is gone. Okay, that video is dead in the water. They will hold that video and make sure it does not get a lot of views. They will not return it in searches. They will hold it back. They will demonetize it. I mean, that's what will happen. And if you look at this list, there are other things on here too. Anything about 9/11. Anything about 9/11 at all, you are not allowed to really discuss. I could go right now and I could film a park bench at the 9/11 memorial site, and I could say, this is the finest craftsmanship park bench I've ever seen. It is just glorious. Let's talk about the wood that was used to make this bench at 9/11, if I put 9/11 anywhere in the title or the description of the video or the keywords, which I don't even use keywords anymore, and anyone else watching this who's from alternative media, all my friends out there, you guys, stop using keywords at all. Seriously, you are hurting yourself by doing that. Anything you put in that keywords is used to shut your videos down further. Anything. So stop, because you're just, it's one of the ways that they use to shut your video down, actually. I learned that a while ago. But anyway, anything about 9/11, you're out of there. It doesn't matter. We did a video having to do with the new Oculus all-seeing eye thing that opens and closes on 9/11 that's actually across the street from the World Trade Center. Even that video. Can't talk about it. Okay? You just cannot. They do not want people talking about 9/11 truth or anything even remotely close to it. So that's another one that's definitely on there. I've also noticed anything where you talk about Iran, because we know that's another domino that's coming up, and because they've told us over and over, if you talk about Iran, that's gone too. So Iran is gone. Ukraine is also a similar situation. Can't talk about what's going on in Ukraine. You especially cannot talk about it in relation to our government's desire for their oil and takeover of that whole thing. So can't talk about that. Not allowed to talk about that at all. There's another one on this particular list that really gives me the creeps when I think about it. Austin public not warned about DHS terror threat. That was when a law enforcement agent in Texas actually leaked a terror threat that they were taking quite seriously to the independent media way back in the day. And we reported on that. Several outlets reported on it. It was a legitimate threat. Somebody had talked about putting bombs on 6th Street in Austin. And we made a video saying this was leaked by law enforcement because they're keeping it from the public, but there's been a terror threat. You might want to not go to 6th Street today, and they made sure that that video was not going to be seen by anyone, which means in the future, if Oath Keepers or somebody leaks that kind of information and they want people to see it, to warn the public, YouTube is not going to allow that to go very far if you make a video about it. Just saying. Anything having to do with ISIS. If I said the goddess Isis blah 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 and I talked about some ancient Egyptian stuff, that still would not, that would be gone. Here's another list, because they did this in batches. They just started doing this last month in full-on batches. So they're just going through our entire list and they're in batches. And I wanted to also point out this one right here, the elephant in the room at the last GOP debate. Why is that one on there, you might ask? That one's on there because we criticized a known Zionist. So if you talk about Zionism, that's also another one. Can't talk about that. You're not allowed to criticize that. You are not allowed to say anything about that. And the first time I learned that was back, I think it's in it might be a 2013, 2014 video. It's several years ago, but I did a video. I showed you guys how the media reports very slantedly on Israel in relation to Gaza, of course, on Israel, period, really. Let's just be honest. But in this particular video, it had to do with Gaza, and it had to do with the media's portrayal of Israel and how slanted that is, basically. And that video was the first time that I really noticed that they were censoring one of our videos. The very first video we ever put up had to do with questioning the Boston Marathon bombing, and that video got over 100,000 views straight away. And then they figured out, oh no, it's another one of those channels. And after that, everything that we were doing was getting locked down, shut down, watched, monitored, the whole nine, right? So things you can't talk about. Syria, Ukraine, Iran, criticism of U.S. foreign policy on almost anything at all, ISIS, 9/11, Zionism, okay? But also there's a few other things too. Can't talk about, I did a video on anti-vaxxers. They told me that one was demonetized. I did this video on new law could eliminate informed consent for human experimentation with vaccines. That one also. So I guess anything that's anti-vaccine is also on that list. I want to prove to you right now that this has nothing to do with demonetizing content based on what is or is not advertiser friendly, okay? And this part is a little bit harder for me to talk about because I went through some pretty bad stuff in my childhood, really bad stuff in my childhood. And so I get kind of upset by these kinds of things. I get really upset, actually. So I'm just telling you. But there's a channel that was called Daddy05. And it has over 760,000 subscribers. That's, gosh, a lot of subscribers, right? You know, they're on their way to 1 million subscribers. Their entire show had to do with pranking their children on tape. And I guess people say at first the pranks were normal or something, but as the channel continued, these things became very abusive. And I'm not going to play a bunch of the footage. I will play a few clips really quick. But we're talking about things like slamming your kid into a bookshelf.
What the fuck?
What did you do?
What the fuck? I didn't do that.
What the hell is that?
I didn't do that. You tell me what you did. I swear to God, I didn't do that.
Jody.
Roll over your carpet. I didn't do that. I swear.
Cody,
I didn't do it.
you're taking it.
You're fucking lying again.
You're doing everything.
We didn't do this.
Yes, you did.
Stop.
Yes, you did. It's just a prank, bruh.
I hate him. No.
No, get out of my chair.
If we look past the screaming and cursing at the kids, there's also the physical element. Not just between some of the kids, which people would say, oh, you know, that's just families. In a video they called Tablet Destruction Prank, at one point the dad pushes Cody. That sends him face first into a bookshelf, and then we see later in the video his pillow is covered with blood. He has a bloody nose not only because his dad decided to make this video, but because he pushed him. Although the father's defense is that it wasn't actually blood, it was red ink.
Or setting your kids up by playing a game where they have to flip a bottle of water and make it land face up on a table, and if they don't do it right, another kid gets to slap them in the face in front of the camera. Hard.
And you know you don't hit girls.
Yeah,
But she's your sister, she don't count. Oh my God!
Having kids hit each other for views. Are you fucking anyway?
For the camera. For the camera. First of all, it's a statement on society, I think, that over 250,000 people just couldn't wait to tune in and watch these kids get psychologically damaged every other 5 minutes. That's, to me, a real statement on just what is completely wrong with the dehumanization of us all. And the general spreading apathy that we've seen as we move closer to this smart grid they're putting everyone on. They want to call that human evolution, but it's actually de-evolution. So it's horrifying to me that that is even a situation. But also, these people were abusing their kids on YouTube for money. And that's the point I wanted to make, is in one of the videos you have the older stepkids who were always helping to torture these two kids, bragging about how much stuff they got because of their ad revenue on YouTube. So basically what I'm telling you is YouTube will monetize as advertiser-friendly child abuse. Blatant child abuse. I mean, some of the tactics that they were using in these videos come straight out of the CIA's torture manual from 1963. That's the level, okay? And it's horrible. And these people have now hired, they took down all their videos, and they've now used their advertiser-friendly money to hire a very, what I can only assume is probably a pretty expensive PR firm, and they've carefully crafted this very heavily edited apology that they've now put up on their channel, which looks totally scripted and completely fake, and no one's really buying it, and
You ever clicked on a link and then immediately regretted it? Now imagine a YouTube channel where instead of pets being tortured, it's children. That's Daddy of 5, the child abuse comedy channel, and boy is it popular.
the point is that the videos and the monetization, they are shutting people down because they don't like what some of us in the alternative media, the independent, real alternative media, before it got co-opted and turned into this Frankenstein monster alt-right or whatever that is, which this channel's not a part of, and a lot of channels that I actually still, the ones I can count on one hand that I still actually respect, I don't believe they're a part of. But they want to shut us down. They don't want us talking about this stuff anymore, and they're going to find a way to do that. And clearly it has nothing to do whatsoever with what is advertiser friendly or not. Because abusing and psychologically torturing your kids and traumatizing them on camera is fine. That is fine. YouTube will monetize that all day long and make those people rich off of what is basically a couple steps up from snuff films, if you ask me, because when I watched it, it made me pretty damn mad. It's very hard to watch those things. People have now they took all the videos down, people have now gotten a lot of the videos together and compiled them. They're putting them back up as evidence reels. That's how bad it is, okay? That's how bad it is. It's hard to watch. In one video, the little girl is screaming about how she wants to go home to her actual mother, which he edited out the words home. You can clearly tell he's cutting the audio.
You guys are making everything horrible for me!
Emma! What the hell are you talking about?
She says everybody's making everything horrible for me. I want to go home. What the hell are you talking about? You should be grateful to get this abuse from us. It's my house.
Everyone's freaking brilliant! Stop at me! It's funny.
Now we hear Cody saying it's funny. She's crying. He says it's funny because he has learned that evil equals entertainment.
And he's laughing about how she's so upset her brain doesn't work anymore.
I got her so damn pissed off. Her brain ain't even working.
Her brain ain't even working.
That's trauma. That's psychologically traumatizing small children for profit on YouTube, who totally allowed it. And they still have their channel. Their channel's still up. Their channel was not pulled. Their channel was not taken down. They still have a channel. So they could do things like this in the future if they wanted, or maybe they'll move on to torturing animals. I don't know what these people's damage is, okay? But clearly they're messed up. And what they did to their kids is way beyond the line, to the point that they're now under investigation for it, and they've had their children taken away. And you've got people all over the internet who can't believe it. But the point I'm trying to make is, if I talk about Syria right now and the effed up stuff that's going on over there, and the fact that our government is propagating a regime change fake war over there for empire and domination, and I talk about that and I criticize that, and I am very anti-war, if I go on a rant about that, that is not allowed. Okay? That is not allowed. That is not advertiser friendly to say war is wrong and it's murder and it's evil. That's not advertiser friendly, okay? What's advertiser friendly apparently is child abuse. That's fine. Okay? So
There's something very nefarious going on behind the scenes at YouTube. It's one thing to tell YouTubers that there's an issue with advertising and challenging content. Sure, it's a straw man to introduce Orwellian censorship. I get it. But it's a whole other deal to sabotage channels with nefarious algorithms and shenanigans behind the scenes. The YouTube adpocalypse is a straw man. It is a contrived, coordinated strategy to get rid of the competition on YouTube so that the legacy dinosaur media can come in and take over. Understand this: it is not about objectionable content. These corporate overlords are more than happy to advertise on despicable shows like Fox's Lucifer. This is an attack to kill the competition. Think the robber barons in the late 1800s. Think Hearst, Rockefeller, Morgan.
that is the point that I wanted to make. This is proof to me. This has nothing, I mean, we've been saying this, right? But we couldn't really prove it. And a lot of people were saying, you're just whiners because you don't like to have your videos demonetized. And it's not about that. It's about having your videos held back. They don't give you the right view counts. They take away your subscribers. They don't send out notifications for your videos. And they're trying to shut us all down. Period. That's what makes me upset. Yes, the advertiser revenue helps because it keeps the lights on and it allows me to pay my internet bill so I can keep uploading these videos that I work very hard on. We both work very hard on this stuff. And it's very important. We need more people who are actually doing this from a place of what needs to be said right now. But they're really trying to shut everybody down. And that's what this is about. This is about shutting everybody down. They want to shut us all down. I don't know what this is going to look like in 5 years. This is why we're trying to put things up on different platforms. But really, all of the major platforms are owned by Bilderberg-attending groups. What can we do? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to do about some of this. I'm disgusted. I am disgusted at the fact that I can't talk about how evil the war in Syria is. I can't talk about that, right? But they will put ads on evil, disgusting stuff like child psychological torture. That's fine, right? That's okay. That's okay to do. That is Google. That is YouTube, and that's what's going on. And they're trying to shut us all down. We will continue to be here, and we will continue to broadcast for as long as we're allowed to. But we don't have control over that stuff. I would just say that's why people like SGT, us, and others have put up Patreon accounts, because it's the one place, at least so far, before they start messing with that, I guess, where people can actually support a channel now, and they don't have to sit here and feel like, well, I can only talk about the things that I can monetize, because then I'll be able to pay my bills to keep going. You know, I just want to show you guys that, because it's disgusting to me. I think this is an evil system. People want to say all technology is neutral. It's not really neutral if it's being wielded by completely evil people for completely evil means. I think that the web, the World Wide Web, which as we know it's military creation, it was meant to be a Wild West for a while, because they wanted to learn what people thought, and they wanted to learn your habits and your things like that, and then they wanted to figure out who they needed to shut down. And I think that's what this whole fake news psyop was always about, clearly. And this whole thing with what's advertiser friendly or not has nothing at all, it has nothing at all to do in any way with actually what would be considered advertiser friendly, unless child psychological torture is advertiser friendly. Well, apparently it is, according to YouTube. I just wanted you guys to see this for yourself and realize that this is actually what's going on. So I'll talk to you guys soon.